try to make sense of what happened here, we have 20, so 3 years ago, what was that, 2016, so we have 2013, and there were 20 trucks that were bought in 2013, right? Then it says, none of the trucks were sold last year. So in 2015, none of these trucks were sold. Let's just say 0 sold. Okay? Therefore, and it sold off all of its diesel trucks. So all the diesel trucks were sold this year. Sound good? Okay? Therefore, none of the 20 trucks were diesel powered. Does that have to be true? Rodolfo, what do you think?
Well, I thought it didn't have to be true, but I can't tell you why.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if all of the diesel trucks were sold last year, and none of these were sold last year, doesn't that suggest that they were not diesel?
Yeah.
It seems to, right?
It seems to be.
Yeah. John?
Well, it says there's no record, but there's no record that they could find. What if there is a record?
Okay, that's one potential problem. Okay, maybe the record is... Yeah. Do some due diligence, right? Let's find that record. Okay. That's one problem. So this argument is making the assumption that the record is legit, or the lack of the record is evidence that none of them were sold. Okay? Any other problems?
The time gap,
Time gap. Yeah, what's the issue?
that they weren't sold this year, but we don't know what's happened to them.
Yeah, so what about in 2014? Is that what you're thinking? Yeah. Maybe 5 of them were sold, and they were the diesel ones, right? And then that means we had 15 left over. None of them were sold, even though all the diesel trucks were sold that year, because they weren't diesel. But the 5 that were now gone could have been diesel. Are we okay with this? Anyone still like, no, that doesn't make any sense? Marcus?
Well, it says all the trucks that were sold last year, not 2014.
Yeah, it doesn't talk about 2014. And that's the gap. We're saying every truck that was sold last year, or what did it say exactly? The company sold off all of its diesel-powered trucks last year. So any diesel trucks that it had are now gone. So whatever trucks of these that were still around in 2015, they weren't sold, or at least records indicate that they weren't sold. So they must not have been diesel, otherwise they would have been sold off with this purging, right, of diesel trucks.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that all 20 of these weren't diesel, because maybe some of them were sold off earlier. Yeah, cool. All right, so
So if they were all diesel, then you'd have no trucks because you would have sold them all last year.
oh yeah, if these were diesel, yeah, then they would have been gone.
Okay.
Yeah, they would either be gone or would have been sold earlier. Aaron?
I said it was A
Yeah, I
because
did
it was
too.
restated, and I was like, oh well, that's gotta be why. Because you know.
Hey, let's see, all of the trucks that it sold last year were diesel powered.
Like I went to the
No, that's not restating.
It's not.
No, it says that X, Y, Z. Ugh, how annoying. Couldn't they just say, you know, Olson Corporation or something like that? Sold off all of its diesel-powered trucks last year. So every diesel-powered truck was sold. Does that mean that all of its trucks sold were diesel? What is that called?
No.
False contrapositive.
Yeah.
It was initially said if diesel then sold, and A says if sold then diesel.
Yeah. Okay.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Any other questions on this one? One other thing to watch out for, Aaron, is that this is a necessary assumption, so I'd be nervous about all. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, D says not, so it doesn't mean it's wrong, but it's something to look at. Okay. Any other questions on this one? Okay.